Hi there and welcome to another IronWorks brewing video. In this video we are kegging the oil for the neck. Right, so oil for the neck, we brewed that on the 9th of October. We're down to 1007. The original gravity was 1042, so pretty good, and the pre-boil was 1044. So yeah, looking pretty good. I've had that browsol added. Obviously, a lot of dry hops went in there as well. And yeah, we're in that position now where we're ready to transfer it into the keg. I'm going to use one of these Kegland kegs for this one. I've got it literally sat at the back there. You might be able to hear it sort of running in the background on the bucket blaster, giving it a good old clean. I'm going to try something that's slightly different with this one, because I'm going to try and minimize the amount of oxygen in terms of the transfer from the fermenter into the keg. And I'm going to try actually doing it as a closed loop as possible. Obviously, this is not a pressure vessel, but my plan is I'm going to take out the airlock. I'm going to then put a very, very small amount of CO2, which I'm going to use from this. That's going to go in where the airlock is. I'm then going to fix to here, which is the outlet, and then I'm going to pre-charge the corny keg, or the Kegland keg, the oxybar. I'm going to pre-charge that with CO2, purge it so that we've just got CO2 in there, and then I'm going to open the valve and then literally allow this to flow under a little bit of pressure, no more than a 1 psi, very, very tiny amount of pressure, to try and transfer that through there. That'll then go, I'll show you the setup in a second when we get going, but that'll then transfer in through the liquid line into the keg, and hopefully, and then obviously as the liquid's going in, it's pushing out the CO2 from the overpressure pressure relief valve at the top. So hopefully that will minimize any oxygen trying to get in there. I've also got some bottles. I'm going to, because I think I've got about 23 litres in here. The oxybars take 19 with a little bit of a gap at the top so that you can sort of get them into position. I'm also going to add a little bit of sugar, priming sugar, into the oxybar as well, and I'm going to use the carbonation tabs for the bottles. So I haven't quite worked out what amount of sugar yet. I'm going to just nip onto Brewfather and work out carbonation levels. I'm going to half what it recommends on there, because I don't want it overly carbonated, and then it can get connected onto the fridge and onto the gases through there, so it'll be fine. But I just wanted to condition it a little bit also whilst it's in the keg. Okay, so I'm going to get sorted myself out. I'll come back to you in a second. I've got a few bits and bobs I just need to set. I've got things in the Starsan, Chemsan, keep calling it Starsan, Chemsan, but pretty much the same kind of product. It's a no-rinse type arrangement in terms of sanitation. I'm going to just clean those down. They're going into the bucket, so I'll get everything set up and then I will come back to you. Okay, so we're ready to, we've got the pressure, well, no pressure really, it's literally just 1 or 2 psi, just lifting into the top of there, or in through what was the airlock, and then hopefully that'll help with the transfer. I'll connect up the hoses next, just make sure we've got we're flowing nicely. To connect up the hoses, this is where the little seat comes in handy. Okie dokie, so we've got, twist these around so they're both facing the same way. That on there. The bucket that all my stuff's in is Chemsan, and all good. what we'll do now is we will connect our fluid in. This one here, so slacken that off a slight tad. That line through. That's good. It's tight enough so it nips it. Right, so this has been purged with CO2. As you can tell, it's solid. I'm going to release all of that now. Connect that up onto there. That's got a little bit of CO2 going in the top. So we're going to transfer that. You can see the CO2 coming out, and I'll bring you over. Right, so let me just zoom out a little bit. So we've got, that was the airlock, and you've got CO2 literally going in at 1 psi, just literally a crack valve effectively. That's keeping a nice CO2 head on the top of the fermenter. We've then got the connection for the outlet. I've dropped off the yeasts. Sorry, I just got straight into the mode. I didn't show you doing that, but actually it's in there, and all the hop detritus looking pretty good. It smells absolutely fantastic, by the way. So reasonable clarity already. I did put some brow salt in. Browsol, I think is how you pronounce it. We've purged the oxybar keg, obviously clean, sanitized, I've done all that kind of stuff. I've added 80 grams of sugar just to condition it within the keg. I've purged it with CO2 and got rid of all of the oxygen, and I've literally just done the final connection, released the CO2, and now we've actually got the transfer actually happening. You can see it transferring nicely there, and it's under CO2 from the top. In through there, down onto that one, through that line, and into the keg. CO2 inside here, that's all now being pushed out through the pressure relief valve. I will then, once it's topped up, I will purge it again and make sure there's no possibility of air getting in there. But actually, it seems to be working quite well. Like I said, I've also got some bottles which I will be bottling. I'm sure, I think there was just 23 litres of the oil for the neck in there. I've got some bottles, they are cleaned and sanitized, ready to go. So once we've got this set up, I'll transfer straight off this, pressurize it, purge it, do the business, and then we'll be good to bottle a few bottles as well. And I'm going to use carbonation drops for those. So I'll come back to you in a sec. Just wanted to show you the clarity here actually, once it's doing its business. That's actually focusing in or not. It's a lovely clarity, and then you can see that's at the keg end. And, nice and clear already. Okay, so the keg's up to, you could probably just make it out. In fact, yeah, you could probably just see the foam just on the top. So I'm giving it a little bit of air gap at the top. I've turned it off. I'm going to fill some bottles. I'm not going to bore you to death with that. And then start to clean down. Okay, so we'll carbonate the bottles with the carbonation drops. We'll then put them in the fermentation fridge. I've got the dry stout just sat on the back. Actually, I'm going to put them all in there and set the temp to around about 17, 18 degrees, so it keeps it nice and warm. That'll lovely, and carbonate those nicely. And other than that, we'll be getting ready for doing a taste. So like and subscribe if you're into this kind of stuff, and we'll come back to you soon. Couple of videos coming up shortly. We've got one on the dry stout, so those who've been watching, the dry stout has been carbonating. I've been forced carbonating that one. I've been using 70-30 mix, so 70% nitrogen, 30% carbon dioxide, and that's looking pretty good at this moment in time. So watch this space. There'll be a quick vid coming out in terms of an actual tasting test session on that one, and there's also a wine kit coming up as well. So so watch this space. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks all.